o'clock, call the meeting to order, please, or 6 o'clock, I'm sorry. The old time we used to hold our meeting was at 7 o'clock. But I'd like to ask everyone, if they would, please, to turn off your cell phone or either turn it down. And if you would, stand and join me with pledge the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Again, welcome everyone to the July 18th regular City Council meeting. Have the mayor's comments is second item on the agenda, and I have some comments that certainly want to mention that Councilman Chuck Welch's mother passed away yesterday. I want you to have him and his family in your prayers. And also, Councilman Ledbetter, Linda's son had an accident. He's in intensive care, and have her and her family in the prayers also.
Thank you, Mayor.
Consideration on the adoption of the agenda. We have two items that's been requested to take off of the agenda, and one of them is under utilities, award bid on Webb Drive, water and sewer. And they're requesting to be placed on the next meeting. Also, they have a request to take off the aquatic center equipment purchase, which is the air conditioning in the multipurpose room, and they're requesting to put that on the next meeting. And the reason for this is the estimates cost hadn't come in on these two projects, so they're requesting, department heads requesting to be taken off. Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Please vote. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Is any other corrections or amendments to the agenda?
Mayor, we do have a need for executive session related to real estate acquisition and potential litigation. I'd respectfully request that be moved on the agenda to a little later. My suggestion would be right after announcements.
Okay, for executive session, the council is recommended to put the executive session to the end of the meeting. To hear a motion? Or move. Have a second?
Second.
Please vote. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, the minutes of the regular city council meeting of June 20th.
We need to adopt the agenda. Pardon? We need to adopt the agenda.
Okay. I hear a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Please vote. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, the regular city council meeting as of June the 20th, 2017. No corrections. The chair will entertain a motion.
Make a motion. We approve it.
Have a motion. Have a second.
Second.
Please vote. Okay, the executive session, June the 20th, 2017. No corrections. The city will entertain chair will entertain a motion.
I make a motion.
Got a motion to have a second.
Second.
Please vote. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, item 6, acknowledgements, proclamation, resolutions. There being none, we'll go to old business. Item 7, under administration, master right-of-way license agreement. Dana, Kevin, Dana.
Mayor, this is the master right-of-way license agreement for mobility that has been negotiated pursuant to both state law and with the assistance of GMA. I believe that the council has considered it, and Mr. Mayor, you've put quite a lot of work into this on behalf of the city, and I think that should be recognized. I think it's in proper form now to be executed. They've met all the requirements that both the state law has and all the requests that we had for changes mobility has agreed to. So I think it's appropriate at this time for the council to authorize you to execute it on behalf of the city. We're glad to answer any questions that y'all might have.
Okay, just a brief comment. I did meet with Kevin in reference to this. He had worked on this contract And we had several corrections that we made that I thought would be in the best interest of the city. And one of them was that they wanted 25-year lease with options of 25 years. So we got that changed to a 4-year lease with 4-year options that would expire and roll over into potentially other elected officials' domains. So we got that changed. Also, we had a 30-day turnaround time frame from the time they submitted requests for a permit until the city had to write them back and notify them where they would receive a permit or not. We changed that to a 60-day turnaround, so they was in agreement with that. And also, they had $500 per apparatus of each pole, annual payment to the city. We changed that to $1,000 annual to the city per pole, and also $2,000 per installation of each pole. It was previously $1,350, and we changed that to $2,000 per pole. So with those changes, I'd recommend that the board approve the mobile light contract as presented in your packet tonight. So
Now, these are the communication things they're gonna put on a pole and
Yes,
sell
ma'am.
out, rent it.
It's basically a booster.
It is.
Okay.
Well, it should improve cell phone and internet usage within the city because it provides more coverage.
But it only works for Sprint or T-Mobile or
It works for whoever they
whoever
sell to.
contracts with them.
That's right.
Okay.
Whoever Mobility chooses to contract with.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the master right-of-way license agreement as presented with the changes that the mayor already mentioned.
I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Please vote. Unanimous. Thank you very much, Stan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council.
Okay, item 8 under new business, we have the Historical Society name change. Mr. Perkle.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. This is a little unusual because usually a resolution comes from your side out here. This is our way of saying thank you to the City of Cumming and to you, the mayor, and the members of the City Council for the work that you've done to support us and to support the whole city. And with your forbearance, I will read this resolution into the record.
Absolutely.
A resolution by the Board of Directors of the Historical Society of Cumming and Forsyth County, Inc. Whereas the City of Cumming in 1995 created a fairgrounds for public use and enjoyment, emphasizing the rich heritage of the city and county, and has made said fairgrounds available for a wide variety of events, and whereas the city later expanded said fairgrounds to include a covered bridge leading to a recreation of an Indian village, including 2 historic structures, the Harris Cabin and Buffington's Tavern, which the city moved at no small expense to the safety of the fairgrounds so that they could be restored and properly preserved, and whereas the City of Cumming, in order to honor those who have served and sacrificed on behalf of their country, has each year hosted a war memorial ceremony, Confederate Memorial Day ceremony, and Veterans Day ceremony at War Memorial Park, and whereas the city each year hosts an extended Independence Day celebration, including fireworks, concerts, and one of the finest July 4th parades in the South, and whereas the City of Cumming has worked diligently to protect, restore, and preserve certain artifacts and structures of historical and cultural significance, among them the 1923 historic Cumming School, the Brannan Hotel, and the local Sinclair Station. And whereas the City of Cumming has provided a home and headquarters for the Historical Society of Forsyth County since 2004, and whereas the City of Cumming has recently further strengthened and enhanced the effectiveness and usefulness of the Historical Society by doubling the working and storage space for the Society, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of said Society that to better reflect the mission of the Society, and further in recognition of faithful community service and in gratitude and tribute to Mayor Ford Gravett and the members of the Cumming City Council, the name of the organization be and is hereby officially and permanently changed to the Historical Society of Cumming and Forsyth County, Inc., effective immediately, and it's dated January 2nd, 2017, which is the date it actually went into effect.
Thank you very much, George. I think on behalf of the city council, we gracefully accept that resolution, and I would entertain a motion from the board.
So moved to accept the resolution.
Please vote. And we'll
Thank you.
let you present that to us up here with a picture photo if you'd like to.
All right, we can do that.
Gather around. Thank y'all for all the work and dedication you put into the Historical Society of Cumming and Forsyth County over the years. We appreciate it, gentlemen. One of you come in right here. Three on each side. Okay. Okay, the next one under new business is Hiram Parks Bell History and Genealogy Center. I think we have Mr. Frank Clark here tonight. Is Frank here with anybody here from the, Crystal, you seen anybody here from the
He's supposed to be here.
Hiram
He said he
Parks
was gonna
Bell?
be here.
anyway?
Because he said Saturday he was coming.
Anyway, we have the Hiram Parks Bell next to the Dairy Queen. For some of you who might not know this, they have a great research center, genealogy, and also the history of the South. So anybody would like to go in and read a book or check out some books and talk with some of the authors. They periodically they have speakers at the Hiram Parks Bell Center, and they're also authors of historic history books of the South. So you might go in, and if you'd like more information, of course, they're on the website also, but I was hoping they'd be here tonight to give more information. I had Mr. Clark on the agenda.
His
and-
mother failed. That could have been part of the problem.
Okay. So we'll bypass that and put it on the next meeting, the agenda, for hopefully he'll come for that. Item 3, the Veterans War Memorial renovation update, Mr. Gary Ela. Gary?
Thank you, Mayor Gravitt and City Council. As Mayor Gravitt said, my name is Gary Ely. I'm the president of the Forsyth County Patriots Alliance Incorporated, a newly formed organization to help veterans, their families, and our community. We've met with the mayor a few times, and he's offered us the responsibility of raising funds to renovate the Veterans War Memorial Park. It's in pretty sad shape. 27 years ago, when Mayor Gravitt took on the program and raised a lot of money, did a great thing. It's 25 years old now, and it needs to be looked at and updated. I believe all of you have an insert in your packet of things that we've looked at. Current status of the monument, from an engineering view, we have an engineer on our team now, more of a civil engineer to help us decide what's happening with the monument. It is becoming unsafe. The tiles are becoming loose and slippery. The water that's been flowing from the backside and underneath the monument is tearing it apart. A lot of water damage, underground river concerns. Preliminary stabilization plans, work with Comcast to ditch above existing monument. Remove the current monument, the entire thing, not just the top of it. We will salvage the individual war monument toppers, and we want to replace them with solid granite marble or solid granite pedestals as opposed to tiles. Dig up the underground river and stabilize it to make sure that when we backfill it and raise up the park, it can withstand what we're attempting to do to it. And then backfill the entire park to drain away from the middle of the park. We had one of our veterans down there at Memorial Day in a brand new state-of-the-art chair, electric chair, and of course they took him down in the grass, and he didn't get down and everybody got stuck. It took 6 of us to pick that big chair and him out of that mud. So we got to get that water out of there. Current financial status, we're currently at $3,000 in the bank. We've had donations of over $4,800. We still have $500 coming from the VFW and $500 coming from About Face. They're paying them up in installments. Their goal is $1,000. The other veterans organizations, VVA and Vietnam Veterans of America and the American Legion Post 307 have both each donated $1,000. Fundraising, I talked to Mayor Gravitt about donating the Cumming Fairgrounds on September 9th. The North Georgia Realtors Association wants to put on a veterans fundraising event, and they're going to do a big barbecue there. I want to thank the city for donating the pavilion for this event. We look to raise a lot of money out of that. Donation containers are being placed throughout the county that has our flyer on it, taped on it, so that people go into stores, they can just drop their change in the buckets. Seems small, but it adds up $30,000, $40,000 real quick. We have a poker event planned for Veterans Day. We did speak to the Legal Eagles about this, and they said as long as you're not gambling that the people take away the funds from that. It's a donation program, so it's totally legal. Battle of the High School Bands, that was brought up by one of our board members. He's seen it in other communities where the high school bands get together for a day, and it's kind of a community thing that we bring people out and make that a fundraiser. The corporate drive, we're waiting on proposed design because when Mayor Gravitt worked with the artist the first go around, I think they had an artist rendering of what the proposed park may look like. And so when Mayor Gravitt and distinguished people invited the guests in to, I don't want to say fleece them, but get the money from them, it was well known that they were coming in to donate funds. They weren't coming just for a luncheon or something. So we're just about done with our recommendation that we're going to make for what it needs to have incorporated into it, which we'll bring back to the City Council for approval. And at that time, the artist will give us a rendering that we can move forward with our fundraising. I do want to thank Mayor Gravitt. He's made it possible for one local company, I believe, to donate about $5,000 to us coming in early fall, and I really appreciate that. That's a big boost for us. Monument status, FCPA compiling recommendations for the artist. Artists will draft a sketch to use with fundraising, adding first responders, a monument for first responders, adding the missing war monuments, which is 2 or 3. We're still trying to track down exactly how that's been broken out. I'm looking for a Huey helicopter to put up on a pedestal that comes up above it. We want to draw attention to the great thing that this city is doing for its veterans and remembrance. Existing monuments will be updated to solid granite bases, not tiled. Again, the tile that they use is pretty, but it's very busy. And so the names that have been engraved in it are getting very hard to see. They're taking black tone. They might have been painted black, but it's hard to read them. So we will take a lighter, more monotone gray for granite. We're going to go up and visit a granite factory and see if they can donate some slabs to us and figure out how to get them cut, and we'll re-engrave all those names back into it, plus add any names that need to be added to it. We'll follow up with the city council when recommendations are prepared, and the city council may want to consider reviewing the name that it was given. There is some discussion going around about it being a war memorial. And all of the memorials we visited, none of them specifically get to naming it a war memorial, but we're good with whichever way you guys want to go. The last thing I would ask, there's a lot of discussion around this, and you know, Mayor Gravitt and the City Council kind of took me off guard when I held the first meeting with Mayor Gravitt and asked if we could raise funds. Not only did he say yes, he said, you can take charge of it. So it kind of took me back there a little bit, and I said, well, I'm a project engineer by trade, industrial engineer, so I'd be more than happy to lend my service to support the city engineer that's going to run the project. And he says, well, lo and behold, we don't have one of them either. You can do that too. So I said, all right, I'm up for it. I need to understand the leeway that Mayor Gravitt and the City Council wants us to take. When we come up with the recommendations or what we feel is the right and proper design, does the City Council want to sign off on that, or do you want the FCPA to take control of that? How do you want to see this?
It's my understanding, Gary, whenever the council agreed to turn it over to the veterans, that the veterans would be in charge. We don't want any veterans left out. We might not have all the necessary group of veterans that y'all want to have the pedestals down there. So y'all are, your group is on top of this, and I think it was the city's conscientious concern that you would, we would win that rebuilding of the monument to the veterans.
Okay.
I think y'all know more about what you want to do, and I know y'all have traveled throughout the country taking pictures and looking at different monuments that support our veterans and first responders. And since that memorial was put up, myself and the city council and the committee that we put together raised the funds, private funds, to build that monument, and that was about the time the Gulf War was taking shape, and at that time everybody who wanted to be on television wanted to be an expert in the wars and how many people was going to die and so forth, and every time you turn on the TV you'd hear some of the commentators was talking about tens of thousands of people was going to die in the Gulf War. Fortunately, under President Bush, didn't lose the first soldier over there. So I know that y'all have talked about maybe Iraqi monument or Afghanistan or some of the other places that where our country has lost a lot of soldiers. And one of the things that's not represented on there that Mr. Pat Patterson had talked about is the Coast Guard anchor on there. So we want to work on, be sure that we get everybody represented in the new monument. And of course, whenever we built it 25 years ago, and all of the private sponsors and the ones that made the donations, we didn't think about the wheelchair accessible and having handicap areas to see it and this. And as our veterans gets older and get some of them wheelchairs, we need all that. So I think it's the council's consensus that we want the veterans to look after it, and we'll beg and plead and try to get the donations to do the job, and y'all can oversee it. Is that agreeable with the board?
Absolutely.
That sounds good. I appreciate your confidence and your support. I will come back from time to time to update you all on where we're at. I told Crystal that I plan to build a barometer. Might be two-sided down at the memorial. If you remember, like the old fundraising days for either blood drives or whatever, they'd have a barometer on there. And in case you have not heard, some of the monuments we visited are memorials. Their price tags have been $1 to $1.1 million. So I've set the budget at this at $1.5 million, and that's our goal, target goal to get this thing in place.
Okay.
Any further questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Do you need any help on this September 9th?
I hope to know something more. I was kind of waiting to see what you all had to say before I went back to them, but Carol LeBranch is acting our liaison because she also is a North Georgia realtor. But they are planning on doing the flyers, everything. So if I got to figure out tables or chairs or something, I may get a hold of your mayor and see if you got some leads on where I should go talk to people. But right now, the answer is no. We got bleachers in the pavilion, right, to sit on.
The events you got set up for the fundraiser, keep us informed, to send Christian maybe an email or something to keep us informed so we can work with you and help.
All right, the one thing I'm putting out to all the veterans organizations, they're all allowed to put up a booth. They're asked to put up a booth there. They can fundraise there. It kind of goes against our thing, but ours will be done off at the barbecue. And they can recruit to raise their memberships up. If you guys can think of anybody else that would benefit from coming to this or would want to participate, more than welcome to have. The more booths, the more people will draw to the thing.
Good.
Well, I've got a group that might give you some free entertainment, and it's all related to, various wars and things like that.
That'd be great.
Thank you very much.
I'll get you in touch with them, and if you want them, fine. If you don't, that's fine.
Thank you.
Legal counsel, is there anything that we need to do different?
Only to the extent that they're doing construction on city property, we need to have that approved by the council. Once they get a final plan,
Yeah,
that needs to be approved by.
whenever
There would be a permitting before you guys could start doing the
Always.
work, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we first turn the first shovel, they'll be permitting.
Right.
One thing I forgot to mention, I don't know if it was city-owned or not, was the little piece of pie property owned by the city up along Castleberry. Well, Comcast just purchased that land. So David Ingmeyer, our engineer, has worked with Comcast before, and he's going to go up and talk to them and see if they would donate where the property line comes straight across the top between Comcast and the park, or the memorial. That piece of land they bought backs up to them on Castleberry and then comes down as a piece of pie, like beside the memorial. So we'd like to ask them to donate that, and then we could possibly add additional parking into that area as well. But we're going to talk to them about helping us ditch that to get that water from running off of their property down onto the memorial. So most definitely we will be keeping the city council before we dig, before we permit. We need to check with you and make sure that you guys are on board with what we want to do.
When you get the rendering and everything, bring it back for the public's view on it. We'd like to see it.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 4 is the retiree health care policy. Phil Higgins. Phil?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The Georgia Municipal Association is discontinuing a policy that covers our active retirees. The change that we're making in our policy is just to add one sentence to the language of the policy that allows our retirees to use other sources to obtain insurance, and it doesn't change any of the benefit. The city still takes care of the benefit for them.
This resolution basically is 2 pages, and it's requested by the GMA, so if council has any questions, Phil's prepared to answer them. Otherwise, Chair will entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve it as presented.
I have a
I
motion. Second. Please vote. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, item B, under utilities, we have Mr. Lon Turner here speaking on behalf of Habersham customers. Habersham, Mr. Tanner.
Thank you, Mayor Gravitt. Members of the City Council, I know you're aware of the sewer situation that we're in, and of course the viewpoint of it is way different from your standpoint than it is mine. I've been a resident in Habersham for almost 20 years, watched the sewer service change over the years from company to company, And of course, in 2000, I think it was 2006, the city took over the billing, which helped greatly, I know, and it gave the impression, obviously, that the city had the sewer, you know. So I know a lot of my neighbors came in afterwards and saw that and said, oh, the city, we're on sewer, so a lot of people were confused. Obviously, as time has progressed, we've forgotten about the sewer. Me as a resident, I just pay the bill, go on about my way, and pay my water and sewer together, and everything works out great. But then, obviously, a situation happened in April. And again, unbeknownst to us, meaning the customer, in May, we received a letter from the city stating that we had a very substantial sewer bill coming up, $6,250, as you know. And the city was gracious enough to offer us a discount. $5,000 would be the payment if we could pay it early, meaning the end of July, end of this month. So I come to you asking on behalf of myself as a customer of yours now, and obviously as a person who's lived here my entire life, basically, in the city of Cumming, to extend that just a little bit further. I would like to take advantage personally of paying the $5,000 up front, but unfortunately I don't have that kind of money right now. It's a difficult, substantial amount of money actually to come up with in a short period of time. So I know there's been some discussion of a 60-day period extension, which that's what I would like to ask the council as well, if you could extend that 60 days. And also, another option was payment. We could make payments of 62 and a half months of $100. And then there was a interest rate of 4%, which is not bad. And I believe there's a state law, from what I understand from this Cumming Utilities, that they have to charge some sort of interest rate. And I understand that. But again, I want to approach the council and ask if we could reduce that interest rate. It would be nice if it was 0.5% or 1%, but again, just some sort of reduction. I know several of my neighbors that I've spoken to personally are scrambling to get money. They're trying to figure out ways to come up with this additional funds, and like I said, I think a lower percentage rate would definitely help ease the pain. And then lastly, the plant, what it ends up being, and I certainly don't know, I know it's going to be fairly large, just based on the amount of effluent that's going to be passed through there. I just simply ask for some sort of a green space. I know personally my property line does not back up to the plant, but I know I drive down Buford Dam quite a bit, and I'm used to seeing that clump of trees there. And I know the folks that back up to that land are used to seeing in their backyard trees. And so I just simply ask that if the city council, if you can't do it, maybe you could tell me who could help us to try to see if we could get some sort of green space to keep the aesthetics of the neighborhood and going down Buford Dam to make it look nice. So,
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
Those concerns doesn't seem to be unreasonable, but first of all, let me give you a little history. And y'all, some of you may be new and may not know the history. You may have bought homes in there and thinking you were on public sewer,
Right.
when you was on a private system.
Exactly, yeah.
Whenever Mr. Billy Martin permitted that property for development over there, the private sewer plant was permitted by the county and also by the EPD. The county, over the years, that's been probably 50 years ago. So over the years, the city of Cumming has worked with the county commissioners and outlining an area for utilities of water and sewer for the city and the county. And this happened in 1987.
This
when
would
the
be the city
territorial
service area.
arrangements was made.
This would be the city service area.
Well,
And so, by virtue of that agreement in 1987, the city wound up with the surrounding area of Habersham as a city service area, but due to the private system, the city had no control over that.
right.
So, we were made aware of some problems that was going on with the system some time back by some of the people. We had friends that lived in Habersham. But they thought they had city sewer service, public sewer over there. Some of them did.
Yeah.
Even as far back as Mr. John Kiefer, who was commissioner, we tried to resolve it with the homeowners at that time. And unfortunately, we were not able to resolve the situation of the private sewer system. But the system has evolved over the years and become, I guess, kind of a third world type sewer plant. It certainly hadn't been maintained and kept up. From the time you mentioned about the city collecting the flat rate sewer treatment that the Habersham Action Committee was charging, which I think was $42.50 a month per home.
Yeah.
The city has paid the Habersham Action Committee back on a monthly check, which equates between around 1.7 to $2 million. I don't know where that money went. It didn't go to maintain and upkeep the plant. So 1.7 to $2 million has gone somewhere. If that had been put in the association's account, they could have paid every sewer tap without any homeowner being subjected to this.
Yeah, like I said, your viewpoint on the situation is way different than mine. I was just, a homeowner.
As all the customers know, you are a customer of the city of Cumming because the city of Cumming furnishes you quality water in there. So it made a fit that we could work with the HOA and billing the sewer and paying the HOA the money back. But all the money that the city paid them back, I don't know what they done with it. And obviously, the homeowners thought, well, everything's going fine. They really didn't know what kind of situation. And hey, we sympathize with everybody over there because, like I said, they're city customers.
Well, how much money are you gonna have to put into it right now? City of Cumming.
Well, I'll get to that. Let me, the city sent a letter out to everybody making, I think, 3 proposals. That one of them was that $5,000 tap fee would be up front, and that's what everybody pays. $62.50 over a 5-year period with 4% interest.
Right.
And the last sentence in the letter stated, if not able to meet either one of those conditions, come in on an individual basis and the city will work with it.
Right.
Today, we've got about 77 people who has come in and bought the tap. About 2/3 has paid the money up front, and about 1/3 has worked out a payment plan. We want to try to resolve the issue, but I understand just the last few days, the Habersham Action Committee has received a permit from EPD to continue to run the plant. So it looks like they want to get into a lawsuit about this. And I know I've talked to a lot of people over in Habersham that wants the city and wants the city utilities department to run the system and take it over.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And obviously, we have some scrupulous owners who claim to be owners of the system, and right now I believe it's about 4 or 5 different people that claim to own the system. So this is a situation that nobody wants to be in, but it's a situation we've got to try to resolve for our environment and dumping raw sewage in the lake. The other problem is with the Habersham Action Committee. Over 7 years ago, we found out after the April incident where the fire burnt down one of the pump stations. We found out that Habersham Action Committee had authorized some contractor to illegally tap into the city sewer, and the city's been treating the sewer for the last over 7 years that we've been sending Habersham Action Committee money back for their sewer. So we in a situation here that it's going to probably be handled in court, but in the meantime, we're trying to resolve the immediate situation that we feel for everybody in Habersham.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of legalities, and I'm no lawyer. I can assure you I'm no lawyer. I'm just a simple citizen here that just come here to ask. That's all I can do.
And I'm not a lawyer either, but the voters has entrusted us to operate the water and sewer, and that's a system that's owned by the citizens of Cumming and Forsyth County. Now, the question has been asked to the city, well, what about the Lanier Beach South? They didn't pay a fee.
Yeah.
Well, let me explain that. The owners of Habersham Sewer Plant, Lanier Beach South Sewer Plant, they came to the city of Cumming and said, we got a perfectly good operating system, but we no longer want to be in the sewer system. We want to donate it to the city of Cumming. There are no legal fees. You don't have to condemn it. You don't have to have appraisals done. You don't have to go to court. And we want to donate it and donate our customers to the city of Cumming. Yeah. So the city council voted to take that over on its face, and we operated 15 years without spending any money. Large difference between Habersham and Lanier Beach South. Yeah. Currently, the engineers has estimated to get that plant up and running is going to cost $4 million at the cheapest we can get out to get it up, cleaned up, and get it running. So that means if every customer, the 400 people in Habersham, came to the city tomorrow and paid $5,000, that's $2 million. Right. Yeah. So the city would still be subsidizing $2 million to get it going. Right. So I wanted to bring all this out and tell the true story about what's going on. And now, getting to your request here today, you've requested a 60-day extension. You've requested a reduction from 4% to 1% on the people who can't, maybe, that'll help out some. Exactly. And you've requested that the city do all the landscaping and clean it up and make it where you want to have a picnic table around. That'll be fine.
Well, I don't know about that, but
build a state-of-the-art complex at some point.
Well, yeah, but there's some sort of leave some trees, some sort of a green space that. And again, I don't know if you can do that. I'm just asking.
Well, your request seems very reasonable, and to reiterate the mayor's comments, this is a tough situation, and obviously, we feel for you guys because at the end of the day, the operators of the private plant, they really failed you. Yeah. And, we're having to come in and to try and make it a good, better situation. And, as the mayor stated, the three things in that letter, that's the only options we have. Yeah. We're trying to offer you guys the city of Cumming resident rate, even though you're not inside the city of Cumming, and then financing it. And, that third option is if you just can't make either the two, come in and we want to work with you guys. We really do. Yeah. And so as I see it, the items in your email, I don't have a problem with any of those. I understand the issue at hand is to hear these three concerns as presented, and you'd like feedback from us on whether we can do anything or
exactly.
not.
Yeah, exactly.
Any other council have any questions?
Yeah, I wanted to tell Lon, sorry. Sure. I'm glad. I appreciate your demeanor and getting up here and your reasonable requests, but meaningful. I think that's the best way to go about it, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to tell you that.
And I want you to know that there's nobody on this board that hadn't paid that tap fee.
Right.
I mean, it's not something that, that we're doing to you.
No.
I paid it when the sewer came by my house. I could keep on my septic tank, or I could join the sewer. And I thought, septic tank. I think I'll join the sewer. So I had to pay the tap fee, as did everybody else. Except for that one system that was perfect, everybody's paid it.
No. I'm not trying to say we're trying to waive it. I'm just saying it was an unexpected bill to us, to me.
Whoever owns that plant, y'all ought to be talking to them really strong.
We'll get to that
They
point,
did
but
you a
right now.
disservice. They've done you a disservice, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Any other comments? I would, I think, agree with the Commissioners Welch and other council that this is a reasonable request, Mr. Tanner, and I would recommend to the board that we approve your request as presented to us, and the members who have already signed up at the 4%, they'll be reduced down to 1%.
Okay.
So, and also there'll be a 60-day extension, and
Yeah.
obviously as we go along, whenever we can, I don't know when we can go along with the plant cleanup because of the new permit that's been issued by the state of Georgia, EPD. I don't understand that at all. I appreciate all this and why a new permit would be issued.
I understand.
It sounds like some politics being played somewhere to me down.
And as far as appearance, the city goes to great lengths to have good-looking facilities, and I can promise you if our name's on it, we want to be proud of it too. And so, you know, you want it to be as minimal and as pleasing of an impact as it can be, and we'll take that in consideration.
And if there's somebody retired like me and they can't pay the $100, tell them to come in and
Well,
talk
and
to the water
the only thing
department.
I'd add to the mayor's comments is obviously there is pending litigation. So, you know, anything we talk about,
Yeah.
just understand the future. If the court steps in and says, listen, you guys are going to live with the HAC, I mean, you know, this is not, you know, far from over, and we obviously don't know what the results will be, and, you know, we're going to do what the court says, obviously.
I understand. And I know it could drag on for a very long time, the battle that you have or could have. Like I said, I just simply.
And listen, if they want to keep it, they just need to run and operate it correctly.
I understand.
So, but anyway, you folks
On
in,
the items that you proposed for, I'll make a motion that we approve the items that he proposed to us.
I have a motion from Lewis to have a
A
second.
second.
Wait, hold on, any other discussion?
Yeah, I just want to ask, are we specific enough on this motion to know what we're, because he,
On 1 and 2, you're specific enough. On number 3, that goes to Councilman Welch's point. We don't know what the future will be in terms of landscaping and buffer areas because at this point in time, we don't own that property.
Right.
We previously authorized moving forward to acquire that property for condemnation if necessary because of matters that the council previously considered. So I think that it's fine with the caveat that we can't do any landscaping on property that we don't.
Can we just make that to be determined?
Well, can I ask, when you come up with the plan, can you contact me? And I would love to see it. I mean, is that possible?
It'll look nice, don't worry.
Well, I mean, if you got an artist rendition.
The city never does anything that doesn't look good.
The plan is approved by the council, for public record, Mr.
Okay.
Burgess, the utilities director.
Okay.
You can contact him and we'll be glad to.
All right.
Right.
Give you a copy of it.
I was about to say, listen, we know it's a sensitive situation, and, you know, you never make all the people happy all the time, but in
No.
spite of what you may hear from other governmental entities and other divisions and other folks, we are working hard to try and take care of you guys and get you
I
what you
appreciate
need.
that.
But I might add that after the town hall meeting, I had a meeting with Commissioner Samantson,
Yeah.
and we talked about the same issues that were brought to us tonight. So I told her that we would discuss it at the meeting and give a ruling on it. So hopefully this will help
It will.
some, you know,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
understand that it puts a burden on some people, but we don't want the burden to be on them. We want them to come in, and we'll try to work on an individual basis to resolve the issue.
All right.
But I have a motion and a second on the 3 proposals that was presented by Mr. Tanner. Any other discussion?
Item 3 is TBD.
Right. Obviously, we know the city don't own the property, and there'll be probably litigation, but we'll probably.
When that day comes,
We'll probably be having a lot of y'all people, some of you people as witnesses.
Yeah.
So
All right.
anyway,
I understand.
anyway, please vote.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
Lon.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Mr. Tanner. Thank you. Okay, Item C, award bid for a traffic signal at Pilgrim Mill Road and near 400, Jason McCook.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Y'all had asked us back in June to get quotes for a new signal at Pilgrim Mill Road and Lanier Parkway. We have received those quotes. They were from Wilburn Engineering, North Cherokee Electrical, and Bass Signal. The low price was for loop protection option in the amount of $173,863.70.
Okay. Engineering, Wilbur Engineering. Now, I was that's who you recommend to get the bid?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's a lock and key job. It's no other expenses that will occur as far as,
That's a complete end-to-end.
that
project.
includes all equipment, electrical, lights, everything, posts. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, what's the time frame?
I will have to find that out. They did tell me that as soon as they get the notice to proceed, that they would give me a time frame. I'm expecting within probably the next 2 weeks they will begin working. Now, there will be some time, obviously there's some work, that's foundation work that would have to be related to the installation of the signal poles. That's some time frame in that. That's at least a week's worth of work there. Then putting up the poles, I would suspect there's some ordering of some of the actual string poles that have to be done. That is nationwide. We cannot get these string poles. There's such a demand for these. There's about a 30 to 60 day delay in that. So I wish I could report.
So this will not be the arm that hangs out?
It will be a mast arm. It's similar to the ones that they're putting up across from the library, except for one big situation difference. It'll be black rather than the bright silver color.
They've got enough left over out there, you can just get it and put it up down there.
They just pick them on up.
I'll talk to GDOT tomorrow.
So it's the same thing, it's just black instead of silver?
Yeah, we just transfer it.
I can do that.
Okay, but you feel comfortable that, they can get started on in the next week or so?
Yes, sir.
Have you got the surveying done and the plans done for it?
Everything's done. They were submitted the plans. All they have to do is come in. We will probably have a little bit of surveying to lay out the foundation where the string poles will be placed at, but I can do that within a matter of days, so that won't be an issue.
And what did they indicate to you that they'd start it? Because school starts like the 1st of August.
They'll start in probably the next 2 weeks, but it's going to take them probably, I'd say, another 2 months or maybe even 3 before they get it completely operational. And most of that delay is simply due to the string pole manufacturing.
Well, we need to get it in real quick. I didn't realize so much traffic was on that road now, especially since they're working on 400. They're using it to bypass certain parts of 400 here. So it's just bumper to bumper from the center of town here to all the way past the aquatic center. So,
Well, are we using the camera radar option or the loop detection?
We're going to do the loop detection rather than the camera. There's just a little bit of difference price, about $17,000 between the two. The loop detection and the radar camera, as far as operation, you really won't see a difference between the two. It's just the equipment required to do that with the camera is a lot more expensive than the loop detection.
Okay, thank you.
okay. Any other questions? Anybody have? This is recommended by our engineering firm of Wilbur Engineering, which is $171,863.70. And this wasn't budgeted, so it'll come out of the contingency fund for the city of Cumming. So Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Please vote. Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Okay, item D was postponed. Item E, bids for Dobb Creek interior lighting. Greg?
Thank you, Mayor. kind of hard to believe, but we've been in the Dobbs Creek Recreation Center for 15 years now, and that has put us at the end of the lifespan that we could expect from the interior light fixtures there. So we have solicited bids to replace the 96 fixtures with LED fixtures, which will improve the lighting in the facility, also be able to operate the lighting at a lower cost, so it should help our utility bills, and it will also make us eligible for the Georgia Power rebate program. So we have solicited bids for those. We received 3 bids back, as you can see in your packet. $25,000 from Arc Electric Supply, $25,504.32 from Green Star Lighting Technologies, and $29,275.20 from J&M Electric Supply. We've gone over the bids closely, and we are recommending that we go with the low bid from Arc Electric of $25,000 to replace the fixtures at Dobbs Creek. These fixtures, and another cost-saving move, these fixtures will be delivered to the park, but we will be able to install them with our staff, thereby saving any installation costs from an outside source, having to come in and put those lights in. Basically, it'll be plug and play. Go up in a lift, take the old ones down, plug and go with them. So we probably a 3 to 4 week turnaround on getting the lights back in our hands, and then just working around the heavy schedule of Dobbs Creek, getting them in. But by the fall, before basketball starts in the fall, we should have a completely new lighting system.
I can agree that those old fluorescent light, 15-year-old light fixtures need to be replaced. And I have one question, though, in reference to Arc Electric Supply, who you recommended to get the bid. I noticed on the other bid here where they've itemized additional components for the lights.
We have.
Is this bid here, is that complete with all the components?
Sir, it is. We got, our bids were about 20 pages from each one. So all we did was put the initial cover sheet, but we do have the breakdowns of what all's coming from the lighting, you know, how everything broke down. But yes, that is complete. That is the fixture together. Also, they are, we had them to go ahead and attach the whip to it. The only thing we'll need to do is Matt Murphy will help us as far as attaching the wires inside the whip, but the whip will already be attached. So all we'll have to do is plug it into the socket and then let it go.
But
Any other questions?
Green Star's bid, that's including them installing them too?
No, that is, all these were just delivery of the
installation.
fixture.
Okay.
All 3 were bidding on the same thing. Once we realized that it was going to be plug and play, we knew our staff could do it and save us a little money.
Any other questions? Chair will entertain a motion on Arc Electric Supply Incorporated, $25,000 for the LED light fixtures at Dobbs Creek Recreation Center.
So moved.
Got a motion, have a second. Second. Please vote.
May I have a comment?
Unanimous.
When are you gonna ask for air conditioning for Dobbs Creek? As a mother, grandmother, soon to be great grandmother.
I don't know what we've talked about that, but let me answer that.
We need air conditioning at Dobbs Creek.
Over the years, when that was built, of course, the city didn't have a lot of money, and we worked that in the SPOS.
And it's great to have it.
It wasn't built for air conditioning, and the people who has talked about air conditioning that said you can tear it down and build a new facility about as cheap as you can air condition it.
Really?
Isn't that right?
And that's great. I mean, it's not just the cost of putting an air conditioning system in there. It's going back and insulating the building, changing the roof because the roof is vented for the hot air to escape. So that would have to be done. We don't have the electrical lines in the gym to handle it. So we would have to change all the electrical. So all of a sudden, you know, looking at a $70,000, $80,000 air conditioner to go in there turns into a $500,000 project.
Well, so many people have asked me, you said you'd ask about that, so.
Well, you did, and
I would love to see it happen, but I didn't realize it was gonna cost.
There's a lot more than just paying the cost of what your air conditioning units on the outside are gonna cost you.
And we're about the only, you are the only facility where young people can play basketball.
Well,
Are you not?
we've got the 6 courts, you know, you can go to Central Park and play, you can go down to, they've got, but they're limited to, 2 courts here, 2 courts there. Our advantage is having the 6 courts under one roof.
Okay, any other questions?
We'll just take the heat, I guess.
Okay, it's approved.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, item F, which is planning and zoning, service strategy delivery resolution. Dana?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, as y'all will recall, we have adopted a new comprehensive plan, and so has the county. Pursuant to state rules, that means that we have to re-adopt our service delivery strategy agreements. After some discussion with the county attorney, we have before you a resolution which basically adopt all of your existing service delivery strategy agreements as previously submitted to DCA, along with the 2 IGAs that have been executed since that time, just re-adopts it as is. So there's no change in either the service delivery strategy agreement or the existing IGAs, and you just, by state law, we have to either renegotiate all those agreements, which we have recommended against, or we have to re-adopt. So this is a resolution to re-adopt. The county attorney and I have agreed to this. It's being presented to you first, and then it will be presented to the county commission, I believe, at their next meeting, according to what I understand from Mr. Gerard.
I'll make a motion that we re-adopt the
I'll
previous
second that.
policies as, as they were presented before without any changes.
And authorize the mayor to sign the resolution.
And authorize the mayor to sign the resolution on our
I have a
behalf.
motion to have a second.
I second.
In discussion, please vote. Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Mayor, members of council.
You don't want to renegotiate.
It'll come up, sales tax.
Yeah, that's true.
Before I make the announcement, I noticed we have representatives from Highland Parks Mayor. The council want to hear from representatives. Okay. Mr. Clark?
Mayor,
Yes, sir. Come on up.
esteemed many years of struggling to help us out with our project here. We want to present you and the city council members with this flag of humble gratitude. Thank you very much for your help and support. We hope that we will continue to pass it to the city.
Well, thank you folks very much. This is a great asset to our community. I was explaining before y'all came in. We had you up on the agenda pretty high, so we'd already bypassed you. And I was explaining to the audience here about the great work and asset of history that y'all have in your book laboratory out there. So we appreciate the work and dedication, and the city's glad to make what contribution we can as far as furnishing the space.
So I really appreciate it.
So-
We're just sorry for your lunch. My email is
We apologize for that.
Well, you got here plenty of time, didn't you?
We won't, don't leave.
You know, between that place and the historical society, you can research your own genealogy. If people don't know it, I don't think.
Y'all don't know how much.
And while you're on that, I want to ask everybody if they will think about and consider possibly, because we've got that famous, really great artist of ours, Mr. Vaughn, putting something on the side of that building, plus the name, similar to what you've got at the fairgrounds or what you've got at the tax office in Cumming, Matthew's tax office, having some historical scenes, and then have Bell Research Center on the side, so that when you're going to the Dairy Queen, you're looking at it and you go, Bell Research Center, what is that? And that way people start using it. And we've got Mr. Vaughn, who is an excellent artist.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't cost us anything.
We can work on that. Thank y'all.
Good.
Okay, under announcements, we have,
I don't know where.
the Purple Heart City dedication. We have, the city has become a Purple Heart City, and the signs have been installed, and we're going to have a brief dedication with prayer, and the date will be determined because Mr. Greg Eli, he didn't have all the group together to know just when they wanted to do that. So we have Purple Heart in the little clock park here on the corner, and also at the War Memorial down there, so where everybody can see that comes into the city hall and so forth. And it's got the one down at the police department has both sides on it, so you see it both ways. So we're very happy and very honored that we were chosen a great supporter of the city of Cumming, of the veterans, and very happy to become a Purple Heart City. Item B is the upcoming Playhouse shows, which is Get in the Habit. That's a musical which will be performing August the 12th at 3 o'clock and at 8 o'clock. Also, Banks and Shane, 2017 concert. They'll be performing twice on August the 12th at 3 o'clock and at 8 o'clock. And the upcoming events at the fairground, the Cumming Farmers Market in Parking Lot 3 every Wednesday and Saturday from 6:30 to 12 o'clock. And that consisted of all the local gardeners and local farmers. Nothing is brought in to sale. Everything is grown local. So if you want to buy anything at the local farmers market, you have to get there real early. Also, Shaft Color Run 5K fundraising for supporting of adopting and fostering families together at 7 a.m. to 12 o'clock on August the 12th. So ask you to support all of this. And with that said, I hear a motion that we recess and go into executive session.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor? Vote. Thank you. Meeting back to order out of recess. In executive session, we discussed real estate acquisitions, sewer easements, and potential litigation, and nothing to reveal other than that. So I hear a motion we adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second? Second. Please vote. Unanimous. Thank you very much.